Jonathan Soto asked a great question in our Telegram group. Do you guys always get a lab test every time you guys reuse the soil? Or just guess how much to add? In this video, we're going to get into it.
So, soil lab tests, in my opinion, opinions are assholes. Everyone has one. Are a total farce. Just because, and I promise, like, I could get into a conversation with the leading soil biologists, like Elaine Grimm or whoever, John Kemp. And I've listened to John Kemp a number of times now already. I mean, at least 100 hours of listening to John Kemp and his different viewpoints. And with some of the things I've really have realized where they're missing on their awareness, their just general knowledge of it is like they're not thinking about the secondary bonds and the atoms of the lab analysis of the soil. So they're like, oh, check for nitrogen, right? But these things check for very specific, very, very specific things. Like they check for very specific chemicals. Like they might be testing for nitrogen, but they're not just checking for like the secondary bonds. And that really tells you kind of what's in your soil. And the reason why they don't is because how much it costs, is like the whole testing, even in water, is a farce. It's a total lie. It's like a complete scam. And there's 3 degrees actually for testing in water and soil, really just where in the most advanced testing is done in Japan. And the first degree is what we normally see. You get your soil, send it into a lab, and they're going to test for the basics like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, all these other things. But then if you like pay for extra money, they'll give you like a secondary analysis, but they're only going to be able to identify like another 30 or 40 minerals, right? But again, there's a lot of stuff going on in your soil, right? So then they're not really actually telling you to a specific degree, like what is it, right? And then the third level is what Japan does, and they have to use argon gas. It's a very expensive test, and we're talking about water now at this point, but it really comes down to the same thing. And so what I've kind of realized through all these different testings, when you really critically think of what they're doing for you and what you're paying for, what I've realized is it's just a market that kind of gives people an idea. But when you go back to soil biology, the bacteria and the enzymes, and kind of like everything we've talked about around law of minimum, law of tolerance, balancing it out, kind of neutralizing certain man-made chemicals, pesticides, fungicides that inhibit, because what we're trying to do is convert these incomplete chemical reactions back to as close to a form of a sulfated mineral, which everything dissolves into a salt. But if you have too much salt, or if you have too much of one salt, specifically, it becomes incredibly toxic. But if you have an array of salts and minerals and water, right, and a soil biology, then plants and trees can grow healthy, And so this is why I personally have never, ever done a soil test in now going on 13 years. Just completely skip it. I've had so many people like, should I get a soil analysis? Or like, do you have it already? Yeah? Okay, let me take a look at it. And I kind of just ask for it to make them feel good, so that because they spent money on it, and it's something that they're holding as validation of some level, right? And I just ask for it. I look at it, but really just the key is clean water, balanced trace minerals, just balance it all out. The trace minerals are always lacking. Why? It's because they're so small, they literally flow through your soil and run off. Right. So that's really why. That's why they're lacking, is because they're so tiny, and all the fibrous hairs are gone because the bacteria and the fungi have went dormant because of all the toxins. Right. So, and I talk about all the time, right? It's about neutralizing the problem and allowing the bacteria and the fungi to come back in so that they can even just hold the small minerals and create a fibrous environment, and never worrying about the soil amendments, really. Like, of course, you're going to want to add back in over time, but you just don't worry about what's totally in your soil. It becomes a forgotten thought because you see things, right? You see trees grow out of literally rocks. Like, how is that possible? You know what I mean? You see things grow out of sand, out of so many different things. So yeah, I would just stay away from the soil analysis and spending money in that direction at any level. It's better to fall back into the biology.